Section 31 starts the Star Trek movie comeback. We've won it for 9 years. For Star Trek fans, 9 years is an eternity. It's a span long enough to watch a new generation grow up, for entire cinematic universes to rise and fall, and yet the Star Trek movie franchise has remained dormant. Since Star Trek Beyond in 2016, fans have been left with anticipation, speculation, and a nagging question. When will the beloved cinematic universe return? The answer may have finally arrived, and it comes in the form of Section 31. Section 31, the shadowy, morally ambiguous intelligence organization within the Federation, has always been a tantalizing subject for fans of Star Trek. Unlike the mainline adventures of the Enterprise crews, Section 31 stories live in the gray zones of ethics and consequence. They ask the uncomfortable questions. What happens when the Federation bends its own rules? How far will Starfleet go to protect its ideals? And most importantly, what kind of stories can Star Trek tell when it leaves the bright corridors of the Enterprise behind and steps into the shadows? The promise of a Section 31-centered film is that it isn't merely another Star Trek story. It's a bold, cinematic reinvention. While the previous Kelvin timeline films revitalized the franchise for a modern audience, they leaned heavily on nostalgia and action spectacle. A Section 31 movie, by contrast, can explore political intrigue, espionage, and moral complexity in a way the franchise hasn't fully embraced on the big screen. Imagine a Star Trek film that feels like a cross between Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy and Star Trek. Deep Space Nine, dark, gripping, and morally intricate. That's the potential Section 31 brings to the table. What makes this approach even more compelling is timing. Star Trek has thrived on television for the past decade, with series like Discovery, Picard, and Strange New Worlds redefining the franchise's scope and tone. These shows have explored complex narratives, character-driven stories, and serialized arcs that a 2-hour film format historically struggled to accommodate. Yet fans have been hungry for a cinematic return. Section 31 bridges that gap perfectly. It draws from the rich narrative tapestry of the series while giving the franchise the star-studded, high-stakes spectacle that only a movie can deliver. Casting for a Section 31 film could also define the tone in unprecedented ways. Imagine seasoned actors who can carry moral ambiguity with nuance, paired with younger, dynamic stars from the new television series to bridge the gap between generations. The casting wouldn't just be about fan service. It would signal a willingness to take risks, to embrace a story that isn't afraid of darkness or complexity. In short, it could be Star Trek grown up, matured, and ready to compete on the cinematic stage with any blockbuster franchise. Furthermore, the narrative possibilities are staggering. Section 31 is a perfect lens for exploring contemporary issues through a Star Trek prism. Surveillance, ethics and warfare, political corruption, loyalty versus morality, these aren't just plot points. They're the kinds of stories that resonate with modern audiences. Unlike previous Star Trek films, which sometimes struggle to find relevance beyond action and spectacle, a Section 31 movie can be timely, intelligent, and socially resonant. It can challenge audiences in the way the best Star Trek has always strived to do, entertaining while provoking thought. But there's another factor that makes a Section 31 movie uniquely poised for success: mystery. Section 31 has always operated in the shadows. Fans know enough to be intrigued, but not so much that the story is predictable. This secrecy creates a natural tension, a sense of danger, intrigue, and moral ambiguity that is cinematic gold. A story that walks the line between Starfleet loyalty and clandestine operations can sustain suspense, surprises, and complex character arcs across an entire film, or even a film series. Finally, the return of Star Trek to the big screen via Section 31 could signal a new era for the franchise, one in which movies and television coexist rather than compete. With careful planning, the cinematic universe could expand organically from the stories already told on streaming platforms, rewarding longtime fans while drawing new audiences. This approach mirrors successful models in other franchises but retains Star Trek's distinct identity: intelligent storytelling, character depth, and moral reflection, all with a dash of interstellar adventure. 9 years is a long time to wait, but it has allowed the Star Trek universe to evolve, mature, and prepare for a comeback that's not merely nostalgic, but ambitious. Section 31 isn't just another Star Trek movie. It's a statement that the franchise is willing to take risks, explore darkness, and tell stories with moral complexity on a scale the big screen can support. For fans who've waited nearly a decade, It promises the return of Star Trek to the cinematic arena in a way that feels fresh, bold, and necessary.